Have you ever been sitting at the dinner table enjoying a meal, only to notice your dog staring at you with those irresistible eyes? Their tail is wagging, they're sitting perfectly still, and before you know it, you're thinking, it's just one little bite. What harm could it possibly do? That single thought has brought countless loving dog owners into emergency veterinary clinics. Hello, and welcome. I'm Dr. Michael Carter, and for more than 15 years, I've dedicated my career to caring for dogs of every breed, size, and age. Throughout those years, I've met thousands of devoted pet owners who all had one thing in common. They genuinely loved their dogs and wanted the very best for them. Yet many of those same owners were shocked to discover that ordinary food sitting in their kitchens could become life-threatening emergencies for their beloved companions. One small grape, a spoonful of peanut butter, a piece of leftover chicken covered in seasoning, a handful of nuts dropped on the floor. These don't sound dangerous to us. In fact, they're foods many of us enjoy every single week. But a dog's body works very differently from ours. Their digestive system, metabolism, and ability to process certain chemicals are completely unique. Something perfectly harmless for a person can trigger organ failure, severe poisoning, or even death in a dog. Now, I don't say that to frighten you. I say it because knowledge saves lives. Every week, veterinarians receive emergency calls from worried owners saying the same thing. I had no idea that food could be dangerous. The good news is that most of these emergencies can be prevented. By learning which foods to avoid and understanding why they are dangerous, you can protect your dog from situations that are entirely avoidable. Today's video isn't about making you afraid to share your home with your best friend. It's about giving you the confidence to make safe choices every single day. I'll explain not only which foods are dangerous, but also what happens inside your dog's body after they eat them, the warning signs you should never ignore, and the steps you should take immediately if an accident happens. So stay with me until the end, because the final emergency advice could one day save your dog's life. If you're passionate about keeping your dog healthy, happy, and by your side for many years to come, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Every week, we share practical veterinarian-approved advice to help you become the best pet parent possible. Now let's begin with the first food on our list. This is one that surprises more owners than almost any other because many people believe they're giving their dog a healthy, harmless treat. Let's talk about peanut butter. Peanut butter has become one of the most popular treats for dogs around the world. Many owners spread it inside chew toys to keep their dogs occupied, use it to hide medication, or simply offer a spoonful as a special reward after a walk. Most dogs absolutely love it, and watching them happily lick every last bit off a spoon can be incredibly satisfying. The truth is, plain natural peanut butter isn't usually the problem. The real danger is something hidden inside certain brands, and unfortunately, you can't see it, smell it, or taste it. That hidden danger is an artificial sweetener called xylitol. In recent years, more food manufacturers have started using xylitol as a substitute for sugar because it contains fewer calories and doesn't raise blood sugar in people the way regular sugar does. You'll often find it in sugar-free peanut butter, chewing gum, mints, candies, toothpaste, protein bars, and even some baked goods. Some products may also list it under names like birch sugar or birch extract, making it even easier to overlook. For people, xylitol is generally considered safe. For dogs, it's a completely different story. When a dog consumes even a very small amount of xylitol, their body mistakes it for real sugar. Within minutes, the pancreas releases an enormous amount of insulin into the bloodstream. Insulin's job is to lower blood sugar, but when too much insulin is released all at once, your dog's blood glucose can drop to dangerously low levels in a very short period of time. This condition, known as hypoglycemia, can develop in as little as 10 to 30 minutes after ingestion, although in some cases it may take a few hours. At first, your dog may simply seem quieter than usual. You might notice them becoming unusually sleepy or reluctant to stand up. They may begin stumbling as though they're having trouble keeping their balance. Soon after, they may start trembling, vomiting, or acting confused. Without immediate veterinary treatment, those symptoms can quickly progress to seizures, collapse, coma, and in severe cases, death. What makes xylitol even more frightening is that in some dogs it doesn't stop there. It can also cause sudden, severe liver damage, Once the liver begins to fail, the situation becomes far more complicated, requiring intensive emergency care and continuous monitoring. I remember treating a young Labrador whose owner had simply left a container of sugar-free peanut butter on the kitchen counter before leaving for work. Like many Labradors, this dog was curious, energetic, and incredibly food-motivated. He managed to knock the container onto the floor, chew through the plastic, and eat nearly half of it. By the time his owner returned home a few hours later, he was barely able to stand. Fortunately, they recognized something was terribly wrong and rushed him to the emergency hospital immediately. Because treatment started quickly, we were able to stabilize his blood sugar, support his liver, and after several difficult days in the hospital, he recovered. Had they waited until the following morning, the outcome could have been very different. Stories like that are heartbreaking because they happen to caring owners who simply didn't know the risk. That's why I encourage every dog owner to become an expert at reading ingredient labels. Whenever you buy peanut butter specifically for your dog, keep the ingredient list as simple as possible. Ideally, it should contain nothing more than roasted peanuts and perhaps a small amount of salt. If you see xylitol or any unfamiliar sweetener that you're unsure about, choose a different product. It's also worth remembering that peanut butter isn't the only source of danger. Think about everything your dog has access to around your home. A purse left on the floor containing sugar-free gum, a backpack with protein snacks, a child's candy, even a tube of toothpaste left within reach on the bathroom counter. Dogs explore the world with their mouths. They don't know what's safe and what isn't. It's our responsibility to make sure dangerous products stay well out of their reach. A few extra seconds spent putting these items away can prevent an emergency that no pet owner ever wants to experience. Now let's move on to another food that surprises many people because it looks so healthy. In fact, it's something doctors often encourage people to eat more of. Unfortunately for dogs, this common fruit can become one of the most dangerous foods in your entire kitchen. I'm talking about grapes and raisins. Whether they're green, red, black, seedless, organic, fresh, dried, or baked into a dessert, every form should be considered potentially dangerous for dogs. For many years, veterinarians around the world struggled to understand why grapes could cause such devastating illness. We knew they could trigger sudden kidney failure, but we couldn't explain exactly what made them so toxic. More recent research has given us valuable clues, and scientists now believe naturally occurring compounds within grapes, including tartaric acid, may play a significant role. While research continues, one fact remains absolutely clear: dogs and grapes simply do not mix. One of the most frightening things about grape toxicity is how unpredictable it can be. Unlike many poisons where larger amounts create greater danger, grapes don't always follow that rule. One dog may eat several grapes and show very few symptoms, while another may become critically ill after eating only one or two. There is no reliable way to predict which dog will be sensitive. Age doesn't guarantee protection. Breed doesn't guarantee protection. Size doesn't guarantee protection. That's why veterinarians never recommend taking a wait-and-see approach. Raisins deserve even more caution because they're simply dehydrated grapes. As the water is removed, the remaining compounds become more concentrated, meaning a small handful of raisins may contain the equivalent of many grapes. And raisins often hide in foods you might never think about sharing with your dog. They're baked into cookies, muffins, cinnamon bread, fruitcake, granola bars, breakfast cereals, trail mix, and countless holiday desserts. During family gatherings, it's surprisingly easy for one of these foods to fall onto the floor unnoticed. Many dogs are incredibly fast when food drops. By the time you bend down to pick it up, they've already swallowed it. The earliest warning signs usually appear within the first several hours. Your dog may vomit repeatedly. They may refuse food, seem unusually tired, or start drinking much more water than normal. As kidney damage progresses, you might notice frequent urination at first. Later, as the kidneys begin losing their ability to function properly, urine production can decrease dramatically, which is an extremely serious sign. Without prompt treatment, toxins that healthy kidneys would normally remove begin building up inside the body. This affects nearly every organ and can rapidly become life-threatening. I remember a family who brought in their mixed-breed dog after their young daughter accidentally shared part of her lunch. She had been eating a small box of raisins at school earlier that day and brought the leftovers home. Thinking she was being kind, she gave a few raisins to the family dog before anyone noticed. Her parents immediately searched online and realized raisins could be dangerous. Instead of hoping everything would be fine, they brought him to the clinic within the hour. Because they acted so quickly, we were able to induce vomiting before all the raisins were absorbed, begin intravenous fluids immediately, and monitor his kidney function over the next 2 days. Thankfully, every blood test remained normal, and he went home healthy. The outcome might have been very different if they had waited until symptoms appeared. That's an important lesson for every dog owner. When it comes to grapes or raisins, never wait for your dog to become sick before seeking help. The earlier treatment begins, the better the chances of preventing permanent kidney damage. One practical habit I encourage families to adopt is keeping grapes and raisins off low coffee tables, children's snack trays, and kitchen counters where curious noses can easily reach them. If you have young children, teach them that certain foods are only for people, even if the dog begs with those irresistible eyes. Children naturally love sharing with pets because they see them as members of the family. Helping them understand which foods are unsafe is one of the simplest ways to prevent an emergency. Now let's move on to another group of foods that appears in almost every home every single day. They're used to seasoned soups, sauces, roasted meats, pasta dishes, casseroles, takeout meals, and even foods that don't seem heavily seasoned at all. I'm talking about onions, garlic, leeks, shallots, and chives, the allium family. Many owners believe they've made a meal safe simply by removing the visible onions before offering leftovers to their dog. Unfortunately, that's not enough. The harmful compounds remain throughout the food, even after cooking, and that's where the real danger begins. The allium family has been part of human cooking for thousands of years. Onions and garlic add wonderful flavor to meals, and for people they can even provide certain health benefits. But a dog's body reacts to these vegetables very differently. Whether they're raw, cooked, roasted, grilled, fried, dried, powdered, or mixed into a seasoning blend, the toxic compounds remain capable of causing serious harm. That's why the danger isn't limited to obvious foods like onion rings or garlic bread. It's often hiding in leftovers. That roast chicken from dinner may have been seasoned with garlic powder. The beef stew might contain onions that have been simmering for hours. Your favorite pasta sauce almost certainly includes garlic and onion. Even packaged gravies, soup mixes, bouillon cubes, frozen meals, and many commercial seasonings contain onion or garlic powder as one of their main ingredients. One of the biggest misconceptions I hear is, "I only gave my dog a tiny piece." Unfortunately, it isn't always about the size of the bite. Repeated exposure to small amounts over time can also become a problem, especially in smaller dogs. Inside your dog's bloodstream, compounds found in onions and garlic begin damaging red blood cells. Red blood cells are responsible for carrying oxygen from the lungs to every tissue and organ throughout the body. Think of them as thousands of tiny delivery trucks traveling through the bloodstream every second, supplying oxygen wherever it's needed. When these cells become damaged, they lose their ability to function properly. Eventually, the body starts destroying them faster than it can replace them. This leads to a condition called hemolytic anemia. As the number of healthy red blood cells drops, your dog's organs begin receiving less oxygen. At first, the signs can be very subtle. Your normally energetic dog may not want to play. Walks become shorter. They seem tired after only a few minutes of activity. Many owners assume their dog is simply having an off day. Over the next several days, however, the symptoms usually become much more obvious. The gums may appear pale instead of their normal healthy pink color. Breathing becomes faster because the body is desperately trying to deliver more oxygen. The heart works harder. Weakness becomes more noticeable. Some dogs lose interest in food altogether. Others simply lie down and refuse to get back up. In severe cases, the urine may even appear dark or reddish as damaged blood cells break apart inside the body. What makes this poisoning especially dangerous is that symptoms don't always appear immediately. A dog may eat seasoned leftovers on Monday and still seem perfectly normal. By Wednesday or Thursday, they suddenly become weak and lethargic, making it difficult for owners to connect the illness with something that happened several days earlier. I remember an elderly gentleman who visited our clinic with his 12-year-old terrier. He had been lovingly preparing homemade meals for his dog every evening because he thought it was healthier than commercial dog food. Every meal included cooked chicken, rice, vegetables, and a generous amount of garlic because he had heard garlic was good for the immune system. Let's begin with fatty meats. There's no question that dogs are attracted to rich, greasy foods. The smell of sizzling bacon, roasted pork, or a juicy steak is enough to bring even the sleepiest dog running into the kitchen. It's easy to understand why so many owners are tempted to toss a strip of bacon or a piece of steak fat under the table as a special reward. Unfortunately, what seems like an innocent treat can place enormous stress on one of the most important organs in your dog's body, the pancreas. The pancreas has several essential jobs. One of its primary responsibilities is producing digestive enzymes that help break down fats, proteins, and carbohydrates after your dog eats. Normally, these enzymes remain inactive until they reach the small intestine, where they begin digesting food safely. However, after consuming a large amount of fatty food, the pancreas can become overwhelmed. Instead of waiting until they reach the intestine, those powerful digestive enzymes may begin activating inside the pancreas itself. When that happens, the pancreas essentially starts digesting its own tissue. This painful condition is known as pancreatitis. If you've never seen a dog suffering from pancreatitis, consider yourself fortunate. It is one of the most painful conditions we treat in veterinary medicine. Dogs with pancreatitis often refuse to eat completely. They vomit repeatedly, sometimes every time they drink water. Many develop severe abdominal pain and stand with their backs slightly arched because stretching their abdomen makes the pain even worse. Some become so uncomfortable that they don't want anyone touching them. Others simply curl into a corner and remain completely still. In more serious cases, dehydration develops quickly because the constant vomiting prevents them from replacing lost fluids. Without treatment, inflammation can spread throughout the body, affecting other organs and leading to potentially life-threatening complications. Treatment usually isn't as simple as giving a pill and going home. Many dogs require hospitalization, intravenous fluids, medications to control nausea, powerful pain relief, and careful monitoring for several days. Recovery can take weeks, and some dogs remain prone to future episodes for the rest of their lives. I remember one holiday weekend when a cheerful golden retriever named Max arrived at our emergency clinic. His family had hosted a large barbecue the day before. Everyone wanted to spoil him. One person slipped him a sausage. Someone else offered a hamburger. Another guest handed him pieces of bacon. Before the evening ended, Max had also eaten steak fat that had been trimmed from the grill. Each guest thought they were giving him only a tiny treat. No one realized he had been fed by nearly everyone at the party. By the following morning, Max couldn't stop vomiting. He cried whenever someone touched his abdomen and refused even his favorite treats. He spent 4 days in the hospital receiving intensive treatment before he was finally well enough to return home. His family learned a lesson they never forgot. When several people feed the same dog, those small treats quickly become a very large meal. If you're hosting family or friends, make one person responsible for feeding the dog that day. It prevents accidental overfeeding and helps everyone avoid unknowingly giving dangerous foods. Now let's talk about cooked bones. This is one of the oldest myths surrounding dogs. For generations, cartoons, movies, and even advertisements have shown happy dogs chewing large bones. Because of those images, many people naturally assume bones are part of a healthy canine diet. But not all bones are the same. Cooked bones are especially dangerous. When bones are cooked, whether by roasting, grilling, baking, frying, or smoking, they lose much of their natural moisture. That makes them far more brittle than fresh bones. Instead of wearing down gradually while being chewed, they tend to splinter into sharp, needle-like fragments. Imagine swallowing pieces of broken glass. That's very similar to what can happen inside a dog's digestive tract. Those sharp fragments may become lodged in the mouth, throat, or esophagus. They can scrape or puncture the stomach. They may tear the intestines, allowing bacteria and intestinal contents to leak into the abdomen, creating a life-threatening infection that often requires emergency surgery. Even if the bone doesn't puncture anything, large pieces can become stuck inside the intestines, creating a blockage that prevents food from passing normally. Dogs with intestinal blockages often begin vomiting repeatedly, refuse food, become painfully bloated, and quickly grow weaker. Without prompt treatment, these blockages can become fatal. I still remember a German Shepherd that swallowed part of a cooked pork chop bone after a family dinner. Initially, he seemed perfectly fine. The following day, he stopped eating. By the second day, he began vomiting every few hours. X-rays revealed that a sharp piece of bone had become lodged in his intestines. Emergency surgery was the only option. Thankfully, he recovered, but it could easily have ended very differently. The safest choice is surprisingly simple. When you're finished eating, throw cooked bones directly into a secure trash container that your dog cannot access. Many dogs become poisoned not because someone intentionally fed them the bone, but because they raided the garbage after everyone went to bed. Keeping the trash securely closed is one of the easiest ways to prevent a late-night emergency trip to the veterinary hospital. There's one final food on today's list that many owners never suspect could affect a dog's nervous system. It often appears in cookies, chocolates, trail mixes, and holiday gift baskets. I'm talking about macadamia nuts, and although they're small, they can cause some surprisingly dramatic symptoms in dogs. Macadamia nuts may not be something you eat every day, but they often appear in foods that many households keep on hand. You might find them in cookies, brownies, trail mixes, granola, holiday desserts, or even as a snack sitting in a bowl on the coffee table. Because they're not as common as peanuts or almonds, many dog owners don't realize they can be extremely dangerous. The exact reason macadamia nuts are toxic to dogs is still being studied. Despite years of research, scientists have not yet identified the specific compound responsible. What we do know is that dogs can become seriously ill after eating even a relatively small amount. Unlike some toxins that primarily affect the stomach or liver, macadamia nuts have a profound effect on a dog's muscles and nervous system. Symptoms usually begin within several hours after ingestion. At first, your dog may seem unusually tired or reluctant to move. They may begin vomiting or appear restless. As the toxin continues to affect the body, many dogs develop weakness in their hind legs. Some struggle to stand, while others collapse completely, unable to support their own weight. For owners, this can be terrifying. Imagine watching your healthy, energetic dog suddenly lose the ability to walk. Many people immediately fear their dog has suffered a spinal injury or a stroke. Fortunately, with prompt veterinary care, most dogs recover completely within 1 to 2 days. However, that doesn't mean the situation should ever be taken lightly. Dogs experiencing severe weakness often require intravenous fluids, medications to control vomiting, careful monitoring, and supportive nursing care until the toxin leaves their system. I remember treating a playful border collie named Bella shortly after the holiday season. Her family had received several gift baskets filled with chocolates, cookies, and gourmet nuts. While everyone was busy cleaning the house after guests left, Bella quietly found one of the baskets sitting beneath the dining room table. By the time anyone realized what had happened, she'd eaten nearly an entire bag of roasted macadamia nuts. When she arrived at the clinic later that evening, she could barely stand. Her back legs trembled every time she tried to walk, and she looked confused about why her body wasn't responding normally. After receiving treatment and spending the night under observation, Bella gradually regained her strength. By the following afternoon, she was walking comfortably again, much to her family's relief. That experience taught them an important lesson. Holiday foods should never be left where curious pets can reach them. Now that we've talked about the foods every dog owner should avoid, let's end on a much more positive note. The good news is that there are plenty of healthy human foods you can safely share with your dog in moderation. Crunchy carrots are an excellent choice. Many dogs enjoy chewing them, and they're naturally low in calories while providing fiber and important nutrients. Fresh cucumber slices can also make a refreshing snack, especially during warm weather. Green beans, served plain without butter or seasoning, are another healthy option that many dogs enjoy. If your dog likes fruit, apple slices can be a wonderful treat, but always remove the core and seeds first, as the seeds contain compounds that can be harmful if consumed in large amounts. Blueberries are another favorite. They're small, naturally sweet, and packed with antioxidants. Plain cooked pumpkin, without added sugar or spices, can also support healthy digestion for many dogs. The key word is plain. Whenever you prepare food for your dog, avoid adding butter, garlic, onion, salt, sugary sauces, or heavy seasonings. Simple is almost always safer. Now let's answer one of the most important questions every dog owner should know. What should you do if your dog accidentally eats something dangerous? The first and most important rule is this: stay calm. Panicking won't help your dog, and it may make it harder for you to think clearly. If possible, remove any remaining food so your dog can't eat more of it. Next, identify exactly what was eaten. Check the packaging if it's available, read the ingredient label, estimate how much your dog consumed, and make note of the time it happened. These details can be incredibly valuable to your veterinarian. One mistake I strongly advise against is trying home remedies without professional guidance. Many people search the internet and immediately attempt to make their dog vomit using household products. Unfortunately, some of these methods can cause additional injuries or make treatment much more complicated. Not every toxin should be vomited back up, and not every dog is a safe candidate for inducing vomiting. That's why your first phone call should always be to your veterinarian or your nearest emergency animal hospital. If an animal poison hotline is available in your country, keep that number saved in your phone before you ever need it. Having immediate access to professional advice can save precious time during an emergency. Another excellent habit is creating a pet emergency folder. Include your veterinarian's phone number, the address of the nearest emergency clinic, your dog's medical history, current medications, allergies, and recent weight. During stressful situations, having this information ready can make a real difference. As we come to the end of today's video, I want you to remember one simple message. Most cases of food poisoning in dogs are completely preventable. They don't happen because owners don't love their pets. They happen because people simply don't know that ordinary foods can become extraordinary dangers for dogs. Today, you know better. You now understand why reading ingredient labels matters. You know why leftovers should be chosen carefully. You know why children's snacks should stay out of reach. And most importantly, you know that acting quickly can often save a dog's life. Being a responsible dog owner isn't about being perfect. It's about continuing to learn, paying attention, and making informed decisions every day. Your dog trusts you completely. Every meal you prepare, every treat you offer, and every choice you make contributes to their health and happiness. That's a responsibility, but it's also an incredible privilege. Thank you for spending this time with me today and for caring enough to learn how to better protect your four-legged family member. If you found this video helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It helps us reach more dog owners with reliable, veterinarian-approved information that can genuinely save lives. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. Has your dog ever tried to steal food from the table? Or is there a healthy snack they absolutely love? Share your stories below because your experience may help another pet owner. Until next time, take good care of yourself, take even better care of your best friend, and remember, the safest treat is always the one you know is truly safe for your dog.